Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard the P-80A-5 here on the Realistic Battles military exercise preparation for the landing on Hokkaido no respawn. Yeah. The video will follow this, long breath pattern as it reflects the playstyle that is required for this plane. And why I'm showing you this plane? Well, there are several lessons to be learned. And right away, I say it with all my pride that I have. I suck at jets, and I enjoy it. Why? Because jets suck. Why do jets suck? Well, you will find a very surprising ending to this video. Okay, it's not that surprising, but the way to my final verdict, it is an interesting path, so to speak. Now, I asked my buddy, theOrangeDooms, about his opinion on the P-80A-5. And he said, when I asked him for his short opinion or his condensed opinion, he said, it's the best beginner jet. And I couldn't disagree more, but at the same time, he is so right, because it shows everything what you can do with jets, but it also shows everything that is wrong with jets, all the struggle, all the problematics with the implementation within not just realistic battles, but also, you might be surprised to hear that, in arcade. I played jets in arcade. It was the most disgusting part I ever did, flying in an ME-262 stock performance versus, fully upgraded MiG-15s business back in the days where, they had a battle rating spread where they met each other on a regular basis. I hated MiG-15s. I despised them, and even when I got them, I didn't play them. I just bought them, put them in a crew slot, and that's it. And still today it rots there, rot in pieces. Bad piece of experience. But that's not the real thing that I want you to learn today. It's the different opinions and how they come together in this plane, because this plane shows perfectly everything. How you should fly jets, what they can do, what they cannot do, and the general terms. Now here on this map, we're fighting, of course, the British, and the Meteor Mark III is a pain in the ass, as it turns really well and has awesome guns. Compared to you, in the long run, you might be better, but in a direct confrontation, well, how should I say it? This plane can be very fast, okay? But to get there requires so much time. And what you theoretically should do, you should fly low until you reach like 750 kilometers an hour, and then pump all your energy into a zoom climb while you're outside of the view range of the energy of the enemy, and you build up energy with zoom climb after zoom climb up until you can boom and zoom the enemy to death. And it works just so fine on paper, and you should squad up and you should team up and teamwork, and it's so rewarding, right? Yeah, in theory. The practice is simply that it is a very thin line to walk on this very thin advantage you have. It is so easy for the enemy to just simply kill your advantage when you make a little mistake. And you can't go into an head-on as you have machine guns, and the enemy is firing back with 20mm or even 30mm cannons that will, should, and can one-shot you. And you might spark a lot. Now, it's also the thing with the 50 cals. They have, throughout the lifetime of War Thunder so far, the nearly 3.5 years I'm playing this game, 50 cals were the most unreliable weapon ever. And I heard actually a lot of hits, but I didn't see any hit registration. And you know, this plane gives you a very steep learning curve, but it depends on your point of view, you know. And your point of view might be, you know, influenced by where you began to play War Thunder, how excessively you're playing it, at which patch you started to play, if you really like it, if you play arcade or realistic or whatever. And overall, you know, on paper, when you think about it, 50 cals are an amazing weapon. Okay, they have a very good trajectory. Yeah, they lack the high explosive filler, but you have a lot of ammunition, good density of shells. But it doesn't work out too well in the performance here in War Thunder. Or you snipe people on a regular basis from 1 kilometer away. This shouldn't be either. And I refused to play jets for a very long time. Now, certain exceptions were, of course, the German jets, because I began to play with it. I, you know, bothered maybe too long to play with it. The next thing is that, you know, when you hit your enemy, you really rip them apart most of the time. And, you know, with such planes like the Horton, they are just fun. And, you know, letting all the imbalance within the game aside, the real challenge are prop planes, as we will see later on, because it's so easy for them to deal with you if they are piloted by good pilots. And right here we can see the difficult part, to know what you can do. Look at the Seafire. I am a fucking jet, I'm diving, and still he keeps up. But this is, you know, a Spitfire variant. He should rip his wings, right? I'm going 850 nearly, and he keeps up, he even closes in, and I'm just now beginning to separate myself. Imagine this guy, you know, being a little bit closer. What could I do? Turn? I lose all my energy, and I'm in a fight versus a Seafire. I would lose. You know, and now I go into first a shallow, and later on in a very steep, you know, zoom climb. Trading speed into altitude is what jets are made for, or what they are, at least are better than props. But it's, you know, the region between 700 and 800 kilometers an hour what really makes the difference between props and jets, most of the time, at least, as a rule of thumb. But it's a very, very thin line to walk on, and especially when you're stuck with your stock guns, stock shells, you have no performance upgrades, and you're fighting, you know, high-end super props, which are piloted by good pilots, and, you know, you always make this one little mistake, or it's that one time you don't look around, or that one time you tunnel vision on the enemy, and boom, you're dead. And this plane is the incarnation of unforgiveness. One mistake and you're dead. Now, still I have to say, you have it better than the Kika or the Yak jets. At least the Yak 15 and Yak 17. However, the Kika does have a bomb, and while, you know, a lot of people might now shake their heads, it gives you the opportunity to gain a little bit of experience per battle. Now you can do this with, you know, the P80 as well. You can do ground strike on light pillboxes, on AAA, artillery, maybe landing crafts, maybe, you know, bots, whatever you get your hands on, or shall I say your MGs on. And, you know, it's better than to waste like 15 minutes of flying around and getting rewarded with nothing, getting shot down anyways. And when you have this experience on and on and on, it you are convinced that you are doomed to fail, right? And here it comes to the lessons and your point of view. My point of view is that every plane, to be usable, must have a good point about it. May it be weaponry, may it be flight performance, may it be top speed. And at first, you don't see what the point of the P-80 is, because all other jets accelerate faster except the ME-262. But the ME-262, has a mighty punch. And when you screw up the head-on, well, there is nothing left of you that could regret it, right? And also turn fighting with Hortons, bad idea. And overall, it seems like this plane is shit. And yes, it is. And it takes a very long time and a long, painful way until you get decent upgrades, until you know where the strengths and weaknesses are, and when you learn your lessons yourself. And that is very important. I could have shown you a match that I had with like 3 kills versus the Germans, or like 2 kills versus the British on the same map the match before, but it doesn't show the points that are important. You might watch the video again and might have a look on how I fly and what I look at. And in general, I do all the things, not too wrong. But a true chat expert might shake his head. But believe me that it is a very long way to go from somebody that is good in props to somebody that is really good in chats to find his position in War Thunder and to get good results on a regular basis. And it doesn't help when your team, especially the American team, is half made up of bombers. But it's limited to 4 bombers now, Napalm. Yeah, in theory. Guess why we have so small matches lately? And keeping props under control is one thing, but when there is another jet diving onto you, he really forced me to do something. I saw this meteor going in and I knew how long it takes me to gain the speed advantage. So therefore I could avoid the head-on, and I did not think that it would turn around, but yeah, I never learn my lessons, do I? And so I showed you how I fail, so that you know that you're not the only one. But the one thing that I want to tell you today is simply never give up. Keep trying and learn the lessons yourself. Guides and tutorials might be useful to know that there are the possibilities, to learn the theory, how to use it in practice under every certain situation. One cannot possibly teach you. You have to learn it yourself. And you can't learn when you give up. You can't learn if you don't try in the first place. And I hope this was not too depressive, and that I also will get more upgrades and will show you better chat gameplay in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please like the video if you did so, and if you thought it's any useful to you, and subscribe if you want to see more and hopefully better footage in the future. And see you on the battlefield.